Well, Health Canada has been in the midst of a major overhaul on food information and recategorizing, and one of the latest changes will require food manufacturers to add more information at the front of the packages.
Like there couldn't be more information because there's quite a lot. So here to break down the details is Michelle Jalen, a registered dietitian and friend of the show. Michelle, thanks for joining us this afternoon. So how will this revamp of the food labels help make eating healthy easier for Canadians? Nailed that one, hey Nick?
So Health Canada wants to improve food labels, and this new nutrition symbol will be on the front of package of the label, and it's going to list foods that are high in these nutrients. That is sodium, sugars, and saturated fat. Now, high intake of those foods have been linked to chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, as well as things like stroke and some types of cancer. So being able to put that on the front of the food package will help Canadians see those nutrients that are best to have less of. And those are what I call the 3 S's: sodium, sugars, and saturated fat.
Yeah, those are definitely what you want to look out for. Michelle, it's interesting because for a few years now, we've seen it, fast food restaurants, major chains anyway. And when you go in, you can take a look at the menu and see at least the caloric amount of the sort of that, meal you might be buying, etc. Or if you buy a pack of cigarettes, for example, there are sort of horrific pictures of the, impact that tobacco can have on your health and everything else that's in a cigarette. How impactful do you believe these additional information labels could be to changing the way Canadians eat?
Well, I think already it's going to help people have an easier time at it, because normally what I teach in my nutrition workshops is how to read and interpret food labels. And I teach corporate and as well as I teach nonprofits. And one thing I always ask people to look at is 2 things. And the first thing is the nutrition facts table. Now that's on every single food package. It's regulated, and you compare the amount that you eat with the serving size that's at the top. And then that's how you would make a more informed choice. Now, you can also use it to compare 2 types of foods to see which one will be better for you. Or if you have a special restriction, like a special diet you need to follow, like low sodium, you would be able to find that information on there as well. Now, the second thing is the ingredients list. And ingredients are listed from the most weight of the first ingredient to the least weighing one in the end. So the most of an ingredient would be in the first thing, and the least amount of an ingredient would be the last thing. So if you look at this example I have here, sugar is the first ingredient, which will tell you that it's probably not a very healthy food. It's probably what I call a fun food, something that you'd have on occasion, but not every day. But that's the way that you would read and interpret them and learn for yourself how to understand food labels in addition to this new front of package nutrition symbol.
Michelle, I just want to circle back to the 3 S's. You talk about sodium, sugar, saturated fat. Now, I understand that serving sizes provide a different amount of each, but for people who look at it and say, wait a minute, I thought fats is a good fat, and they see a really high fat content. Saturated fat we know is bad. So when you look at sodium, sugar, saturated fat, is there kind of a ballpark number of what it should and shouldn't be? For example, is 9 grams of sugar too much for a bowl of cereal?
9 grams of sugar is a bit on the higher side. I think we can do better, but you also want to think about different things. Like, what about the amount of fiber in the food? Is it higher fiber? Is there other nutrients in the food? Is it higher in protein? These are other things that you want to keep in mind as well, because everyone is so unique and so different, right? So these labels are just meant to make things a little bit easier, so that it's like a guideline for you in making healthier choices.
I want to pick up on the easy or sort of ease of this, Michelle, because, people live busy lives, they're in a rush, they go to the grocery store, they're just kind of either, pulling stuff into their shopping carts or clicking and collecting and picking it up online. How much time does this really take? I mean, if you really want to sort of figure out what's good for you or what's going into your body, how much time do you really need to spend doing this before you, I guess, get the hang of it?
Well, I think this is a step in the right direction, because what often happens is, yes, people are so busy, and this would give people another thing to look at to help them interpret quickly whether or not this is a healthy food or not. Now, something that I always tell people to look out for is something I call health washing marketing. And often on front of food packages, you see claims like things like all natural ingredients or keto friendly or non-GMO. Now, those statements are meant to make a product more appealing to a consumer, but they don't actually tell you the nutrition of the food. Now, this new front of nutrition symbol is based on science, it's regulatory, and also something we call science-based nutrition, and it's not based on marketing. And this is something that would help consumers make better, quicker choices when they're at the grocery store.
Okay, so overall, your opinion that this is a good move. Michelle Jalen, registered dietitian, thanks so much for joining us and breaking it down.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks to all of you for watching CP24 Live and New today. Coming up right after the break.
We'll have the top story.